You woke up this morning on a planet you have never once chosen. You drank your coffee. You checked your phone. You stepped outside into air you didn't think about, under a sky you barely noticed. It felt permanent. It felt like home in the way only something you've never had to question can feel. But the real answer is far stranger, because the planet under your feet was never meant to be your only one, and within your lifetime that single fact may begin to change everything about what it means to be human. For 300,000 years, your species has lived on one world. Every person who ever loved, every empire that ever rose, every word ever spoken happened inside one thin layer of breathable air wrapped around one ball of rock. You have never known anything else. Neither did anyone before you. Earth has been the entire stage of the human story. But you are alive at the exact moment that story begins to crack open. Think about the scale of what is happening right now. Reusable rockets land themselves upright on floating platforms in the ocean. A trip to orbit that once cost the wealth of nations is dropping in price every single year. Engineers are no longer asking whether humans can leave Earth permanently. They are asking when and how many and what it will cost. That shift is quiet. You might have missed it, but it is one of the largest shifts in the history of your species. Why does this matter to you sitting here today? Because the people who first become multiplanetary are not some distant future generation of strangers. Based on current timelines, they may be people alive right now. They may be children being born this year. They may, in some small way, be you. The astronomer Carl Sagan once described Earth as a pale blue dot, a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. He warned that everything we love sits on that single fragile speck. For all of history, that was simply a poetic truth. Soon it may become a practical problem we are forced to solve. Here's the part almost no one talks about. Becoming a multi-planet species is not really about rockets. The rocket is the easy part. The hard part is what happens to a human being when the ground beneath them is no longer Earth. Consider Mars, the planet most likely to host the first permanent human settlement. It is cold beyond anything you have ever felt. Its air is unbreathable, mostly carbon dioxide, thinner than the top of the highest mountain on Earth. The sunlight is weak. The dust is everywhere, fine and clinging and faintly toxic, and the gravity is only about a third of what your body has known every second of your entire life. That last detail is stranger than it sounds. Your bones, your blood, your heart, your inner ear, every system inside you was tuned by millions of years of evolution to one specific pull. The physiologist named Joan Vernikos, who once led life sciences research at NASA, spent decades studying what happens to the human body when gravity changes. Her work revealed something unsettling. Gravity is not just a force that holds you down. It is a signal your body constantly listens to. Take it away, and the body begins to quietly forget how to be a body. Bones thin, muscles shrink. The heart, no longer fighting to pump blood upward, starts to weaken. So picture a child born on Mars. They grow up under that gentle, weaker pull. Their bones lengthen differently. Their heart develops in a world that asks less of it. They run, they jump, they fall slower than you ever did. And here is the question that should stop you cold. If that child ever traveled to Earth, the planet of their ancestors, the planet in all their history books, they might not survive standing up. Their body would be crushed by a gravity it was never built for. They would be human, fully, completely human. But they could never come home to the only home humanity has ever had. Let that settle for a moment. We imagine becoming a multi-planet species as an expansion, a triumph, humanity spreading outward like light. And it is. But it is also a separation. The moment the first child is born on another world and cannot return to this one, humanity stops being a single thing. We become branches. Different gravities, different skies, different bodies, slowly drifting into different kinds of human. Does that frighten you? It should fascinate you more. Because this exact thing has already happened once before, not in space, but here, on this planet. When small bands of early humans walked out of Africa and scattered across continents, they were cut off from one another for tens of thousands of years. Isolated by oceans, ice, and distance, they changed. Skin, height, the ability to digest milk, resistance to different diseases. The human story has always been one of a single species branching as it spreads. Space would simply do it again, faster, stranger, and across far greater distances than any ocean. The evolutionary biologist Scott Solomon has argued that human evolution did not stop with civilization. It is still happening right now in subtle ways. And the moment we settle another world, he suggests, evolution will accelerate in directions we can barely predict. A low-gravity world, higher radiation, a sealed, recycled environment. Each of these is an invisible hand, quietly reshaping the people who live there across generations. So what does this mean for you? It means you are standing at a threshold almost no human ancestor ever stood at. For 300,000 years, the answer to where do humans live was always the same. One word, Earth. You may be among the last generations for whom that single word is the entire truth. Your grandchildren may grow up in a world where the answer requires a list. And here is the strangest mirror of all. You will probably never go to Mars. Most people reading the future into the night sky never personally cross the threshold they sense coming. But you will live inside the turning point. You are the hinge. Future humans, scattered across worlds you will never see, may look back on this exact slice of time, your time, as the moment everything quietly began, the moment the cage door opened, even if most of the birds had not yet flown. There is a strange comfort in that, and a strange weight. Think about how you felt this morning, stepping outside, taking the sky for granted. That feeling, that quiet certainty that this is simply where humans live, is a feeling that may not exist for much longer. Your descendants may look up at a faint red point of light in their black sky and feel something you cannot fully imagine, a homesickness for a planet they have never touched. Or they may look at Earth the way you look at the ocean a continent away. Real, ancestral, but not theirs. The philosopher and futurist thinkers who study these long arcs of time often say the same thing in different words. A species confined to one planet is a species placing every hope on a single roll of the dice. One asteroid, one catastrophe, one mistake. Becoming multiplanetary is not arrogance. It is insurance. It is the oldest survival instinct your species has ever had, scaled up to the size of the cosmos. So the next time you step outside, look up. That sky you barely notice is not a ceiling. For 300,000 years, your ancestors believed it was. They painted gods onto it, navigated by it, prayed to it, feared it. But you are alive, in the first generation, to truly understand that the sky was never a ceiling at all. It was always a door, and the most ordinary thing about your life, the simple fact that you live on Earth, may be one of the last truly universal experiences your species ever shares. You woke up this morning on a planet you have never once chosen, but your grandchildren may wake up having chosen theirs. And when they look back across the dark to find the pale blue dot that started it all, they will be looking, in a way, at you, at the last people who knew only one home, at the quiet hinge of the entire human story, at the moment humanity stopped being a single world and quietly, impossibly, became something far larger.